All right, guys, I'm going to give you a second for anyone who wants to get on here. I'm going to make sure that I could see this in the group because God knows that I sometimes broadcast in the wrong groups. I don't hear myself, all that. And then we're going to talk. Nope. All right. I see myself in here, so we're all good. We're good to start. All right. I'm going to be crazy non-compliant right now, okay? Crazy non-compliant, but it's because I really want you to know and understand about something. So we're going to talk heart disease, cholesterol, antioxidants, NingXia. I want you to really understand this, okay? So I have this booklet here. You can see this. This came out years and years ago. We were allowed to use it and promote it and tell people about it. It was written by Dr. Ronald Lawrence. He's an MD, PhD, assistant clinical professor at UCLA School of Medicine. He was a founding member of the American Association of the Study of Pain. He sat on the advisory board for the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine. And he was the past president of the American Running and Fitness Association. I tell you that because I want you to really understand. He said he had 50 years in medical practice. I actually knew him. I had seen him before. He made major contributions to the study and understanding of non-drug related pain relief. His preference for using natural organic compounds for the treatment of disease has also made him a favorite of health-conscious Hollywood stars. He's the author of over 35 scientific papers and books in the field of pain, neurophysiology, cerebral, obviously brain, blood flow, sports psychology, neurology, toxology of the nervous system. So I want you to know where this guy comes from. And he made this little booklet called 15 New Discoveries that will stop heart disease. And it was stellar. I wish we could still get it. We're not even allowed to use it anymore. So we can't get it. Okay, so let's talk about this. Fact, because this might go on for a little bit. So fact, 150 years ago, heart disease was virtually unheard of. Today, it is the #1 cause of death in America. It kills nearly 30% of us. In fact, it kills more women than all forms of cancer, chronic lung disease, pneumonia, AIDS, diabetes, and accidents combined. All of those combined. That's crazy. So like what's going on with us that this is happening? That's what we're going to talk about. And that, by the way, that fact was written by one of the doctors. I never heard of him. Anyway, fact number 1, high cholesterol alone is not the primary cause of heart disease. Now, for those of us who are in healthcare, we already know that. We already know that high cholesterol alone is not the primary cause of heart disease. And that's because, now this is all full of studies. I obviously can't bring out every single study, but the whole thing is referenced. I want you to understand. This entire thing is referenced. So here's what we know, that of the around 1.1 million Americans who suffered heart attacks, who every year they suffer from heart attacks, almost 500,000, which is half, had normal and low cholesterol. So it's not the cholesterol. And I know people are hearing that's cholesterol, and they're still saying that today. And it's really it's very aggravating from a healthcare standpoint because it's untrue, and therefore we still see very high rates of heart disease and cardiovascular events. And cardiovascular events would include everything from heart attacks to strokes and all that. So they all kind of fall in the same category with that. C-reactive protein, which is an inflammatory marker, is a stronger predictor of cardiovascular events than LDL cholesterol. Now, LDL is your low-density lipoprotein cholesterol, so it's even more. Anyway, that came out of Harvard Medical School. So again, I want you to know here everything I'm saying. For those who are just coming on, everything I'm going to talk about here is crazy non-compliant. Okay, I'm not allowed to talk about this with you publicly, and how I'm going to talk about it. I could talk about it in one way, but how I'm going to weave in so you understand what we use and why is totally non-compliant. I am not allowed to talk about it in this way, but this is such great information. And I was reminded by Gina today, we were talking about stuff, and I was reminded by Gina how, like how do we get this information and talk about it? And I'm taking a big risk by telling you all this right now. And this is why I'm keeping it in the smaller Living Fit Club group. So please just honor this, take this information for yourself and pass it, but do not post anywhere like Jahan told me this and told me that, because that would be really bad for all of us. Okay. So question here, what passes for normal cholesterol is actually Not low enough to prevent heart attacks. Research says LDL needs to be less than 70. Okay, so I'm going to give you a quick lesson on LDLs and HDL and what they do. Okay, very basic lesson on it. So HDL is high density lipoprotein. That's considered the good cholesterol. And we have low density lipoprotein, or your LDLs, that's considered bad cholesterol. So let me tell you what the LDLs do. The bad cholesterol. LDL cholesterol repairs cells. That's what it does. So it doesn't sound so bad, right? It repairs cells. So what damages your cells are free radicals. Free radicals go around. They're normal byproducts of metabolism. But when you have extra stress factors involved or environmental factors involved, you tend to produce more free radicals, which means there's more damage going on in your body. We use antioxidants because that damage is called oxidizing. Okay, so we use antioxidants, which you get from your food. We have several oils that are high antioxidants. In fact, I'd say almost all of them, but we have several that are that, and we have other things. But those things come in, and certain, of course, vitamins and stuff are antioxidants. Anyway, that neutralizes those free radicals, okay, from doing the damage. So now, when the damage has been done, the LDL cholesterol comes in and repairs cells. That's what it does. So it doesn't sound so bad, right? But when it does that, it leaves behind a residue. That residue is cleaned up by HDL, high density lipoprotein. So it's cleaned up by the HDL. So that's why you want to have more HDL than LDL, because you want to make sure you have more things to help clean it up, okay? So that's, again, a very basic way of looking at it, but that's essentially how it functions in the body. So yeah, you want to actually have higher levels of HDL for that reason. Okay, now, if you have high cholesterol in general, something that we could sort of look at here, if you have high cholesterol in general, we start to think, okay, that's one of the things it indicates is that there might be some inflammation that is going on. There might be some damage that is going on. So now we have to look at that as well, okay? Now, that's not really discussed, and I don't know why it's not discussed. I think it's because conventional medicine then doesn't really have the tools to tell people, hey, listen, you need to be, eating certain foods, not only to reduce the inflammation, but you have to be eating certain foods to neutralize these free radicals. But the biggest thing is, what is creating this inflammation? That's what we should be looking at, because the cholesterol is there as a protective measure. We've made it something bad because there's correlations. But inflammation leads to almost every disease that exists. We know that. There's a precursor there. So it's inflammation. That's what that C-reactive protein marker is. It's an inflammatory marker. So it's not the cholesterol. The cholesterol is the response. You see what I'm saying? We're treating a response instead of treating the actual issue. And you want to treat the issue. Okay, so that's number one. High cholesterol alone is not a factor. The real cause of heart disease is oxidized cholesterol. Oxidized cholesterol is something very specific. So, in fact, they did a study. Here we go. 2005, University of San Diego. Study found that high cholesterol only modestly increased the risk of coronary artery disease, but patients with both high cholesterol and high oxidized cholesterol, so you needed both, had 16 times higher risk. 16 times. Circulating levels of oxidized LDL, which is your low density, are strongly associated with angiographically documented coronary artery disease, particularly in patients 60 years of age or younger. Okay, younger, not older, but younger. So, again, you have to have high cholesterol and then high LDLs. But that means it's something else to me. That's just another marker. Something else is going on. So, free radicals like superoxide in the blood cause oxidized cholesterol. So what I was just saying here, so the free radicals cause that. Feeding somebody a diet of pure cholesterol produced little arterial damage. So giving people cholesterol caused very little damage. But when food was spiked with a tiny amount of oxidized cholesterol, the damage to arteries became striking. Okay, so feeding a diet spiked with oxidized cholesterol caused a 100% increase in fatty streak lesions in the aorta, according to studies at the University of California. So that's amazing. Okay, the world's best-selling drugs for heart disease, which are statins, the world's best-selling drugs for heart disease only treat high cholesterol and do little to prevent oxidized cholesterol. Lowering cholesterol without reducing oxidized cholesterol can be harmful to your health. Can't really do that. You shouldn't really be doing that. What's cholesterol essential for? Well, here, it's the building block of hormones that control blood sugar and mineral balance. Essential for creating testosterone, estrogen, and progesterone. Part of every cell membrane in our body. It's a precursor to vitamin D and an essential part of bile salts required for digestion. So do we really want to get on like a thing about cholesterol and getting rid of cholesterol? It's very good for your system. You need to have cholesterol. But understanding which parts of the cholesterol you want is important. Patients with chronic heart failure benefit from having high levels of cholesterol rather than low. Did you hear that? Patients with chronic heart failure benefit from having high levels of cholesterol rather than low. Researchers in Hull in the UK followed 114 heart failure patients for at least 12 months. They found that for every point decrease in serum cholesterol, there was a 36% increase in the risk of death within 3 years. So now think about this. People are taking statins to reduce their risk of these cardiovascular events and certainly reduce their risk of death. Yet, every time they do that, for every point decrease in the serum cholesterol, there was a 36% increase of risk of death. So it makes no sense. So it's no wonder that statins are the #1 selling drug, right? For heart disease, and one of the top selling drugs altogether, but one of the best selling drugs for heart disease, and yet people are still dying from heart disease all the time. They're not working. At some point we have to consider common sense. That's not the problem. It's not working. The world's most prescribed drugs are effective for lowering cholesterol, but do nothing to stop death from heart attacks, strokes, or any other disease. Digest that a little bit. The world's most prescribed drugs are effective for lowering cholesterol, but do nothing to stop death from heart attack, strokes, or any other disease. The biggest clinical trial ever conducted on cholesterol-lowering drugs showed that statin users did not live longer than non-statin users during 6 years of follow-up. It made no difference. No difference at all. Okay? So, here we go. Some antioxidant whole foods are powerful medicines to prevent and treat heart disease. We know that already. As powerful as statins are, a healthy dose of exercise and the right foods are more powerful still. That came out of Harvard School of Medicine. Whole foods are far more powerful antioxidants than isolated vitamins. So an example of an antioxidant and an isolated vitamin would be what most people would think of as vitamin C, which is not totally true. But vitamin C in a certain form is an antioxidant, but believe it or not, in another form, vitamin C is an oxidant. It does the exact opposite. So you have other antioxidants like vitamin E, and a lot of people are very into like glutathione now. It's a great antioxidant, but when you start isolating it, you're not, like, I always believe you have to at least mimic nature in some way, and that's why I don't really care for isolates in general, and that's why you want to get whole food forms of antioxidants. In fact, it shows here on a chart whole foods and single vitamins versus superoxide free radicals. And it showed here that blueberries, raspberries, and strawberries were far more effective than just taking vitamin C, vitamin A, or vitamin E. Far more effective. Okay. The NingXia wolfberry is the most powerful whole food antioxidant known to man. So that's interesting right there. The NingXia wolfberry is the most powerful whole food antioxidant known to man. The wolfberry. Most powerful. So, first of all, let me talk about other antioxidants here. The most powerful antioxidant that exists is the earth itself. The earth itself. If you were to spend time on the earth itself without shoes on or not on concrete, but literally on the earth itself, that completes a circuit that is the most powerful antioxidant that exists. The next most, from what I know of, that measured antioxidant is clove oil. Clove essential oil is the next highest antioxidant. And then it says here that the NingXia wolfberry is the most powerful whole food antioxidant known to man. Now they test this in 2001. USDA researchers at Tufts University in Boston identified the world's most powerful antioxidant foods. In 2002, the NingXia wolfberry was tested for the first time and ranked #1. And this is up against the other next foods, which were pomegranates, blueberries, blackberries, strawberries, spinach, Brussels sprouts, beets, oranges, onion, and carrot. And it went down, remarkably down. In fact, I'm going to show you this chart right here. Okay, if you could see that. So that's the NingXia wolfberry here. I mean, it blows them away. And the next one is pomegranates. And these are the highest ones that were tested. Okay, right there, the NingXia wolfberry, highest ones that were tested. Dietary consumption of 50 grams of NingXia wolfberries daily for 10 days resulted in 65% drop in oxidized cholesterol. Wow. 48% jump in blood levels of superoxide dismutase, the enzyme that reduces oxidation and blocks superoxide free radicals. So not only did oxidized cholesterol go down, but superoxide dismutase went up, which is the enzyme that helps to reduce all of this. I mean, you're getting like a double whammy, like awesome here. In general, the greater the oxidative stress state of the individual, the higher risk for disease development. So you really want to cut down on the oxidative stress state, right? And there's many ways to do it, by the way. So I'm talking food, but really all the things that we're doing in the club, in Living Fit Club, all the things we're doing contribute to that. That's why we want you to reduce stress, start design your life, find some happiness, eat whole foods, remove the things that create oxidative stress like alcohol, coffee, black tea, all of that. That produces oxidative stress. The things that people don't want to talk about, maybe because they don't understand that part of it, but all those things do that. Okay, so here's wolfberry. Awesome. Okay. Increases in dietary potassium benefits several disease states. These include the treatment of hypertension, which is high blood pressure, stroke prevention, arrhythmia prevention, and treatment of congestive heart failure. That comes from a physician at Yale. Increases in dietary potassium benefits several diseases. Anyway, in the highest known foods in potassium, number 1, NingXia wolfberries. Next to that, dried apricots. Next to that, sunflower seeds. And it just goes, again, we're talking all whole foods here. But NingXia wolfberry, by far, was the highest known foods in was one of the highest known foods in potassium. What makes the NingXia wolfberry so rare among foods is that it is one of the highest known sources of heart-protecting nutrients, potassium and magnesium. Now that comes from Ron Lawrence, MD, PhD. He's actually the one who wrote this. I gave you his little bio in the beginning of this. And again, all these studies, everything I'm saying, they list all the studies that are talking about this, okay? Listing all of it here. So this is amazing. This is really amazing stuff. Wouldn't you say? This is like really big stuff. Magnesium deficiency more than doubles the risk of heart disease. Do you know what else it does? I'll tell you, magnesium deficiency is like rampant right now in our society. Magnesium deficiencies stop you from going to the bathroom properly. It has to do with how your muscles function, and that's why it doubles the risk of heart disease, because your heart is a muscle. But you're going to feel it in your motor skills first. You'll feel it there. You also might see an increase of calcium deposits. If you have an increase of calcium deposits, cystic breast, calcified thyroid, all that, magnesium almost always plays a role, and it plays a role in a deficiency capacity. So that means you need to increase your magnesium levels. I use MegaCal. I certainly drink NingXia, but the biggest thing is MegaCal that I use for that, okay? The highest known foods in magnesium, number 1 was raw oat bran. Number 2 was English wolfberries. Number 3, NingXia wolfberries. Number 3, NingXia wolfberries. After that, raw pistachios, raw seaweed or kelp, pecans, raw spinach. You notice how it says raw too, right? Because once you cook things, things change. So oat bran, walnuts. Number 3, wolfberries. I mean, look at what you see in here. Low magnesium concentration may contribute to the pathogenesis of coronary atherosclerosis or acute thrombosis. Yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes. So it's very important to be getting your magnesium. Okay, next. Blueberries strengthen blood vessels to protect against heart disease, according to 2006 research at the University of Maine. Eat your blueberries, right? Blueberries are one of the richest sources of antioxidants among fruits and vegetables. Not higher than wolfberries, but blueberries are one of the richest source. Pomegranate juice prevents cholesterol oxidation and clogged arteries in clinical trials. And they're showing several clinical trials here where pomegranate juice reduced oxidation of cholesterol by up to 90% in a 1999 clinical trial published by the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition. Hello, up to 90% just from pomegranate juice. Now, a lot of these things have come out on the news over the years, and people have been having more blueberries and definitely having more pomegranate juice. It created a whole kind of food industry out of the pomegranate juice, if you remember that. University research using ORAC and SOD testing has verified which liquid supplements have the greatest antioxidant power for preventing oxidized cholesterol. NingXia Red was one of those things that was tested, by the way, and it was off the charts. So why am I telling you this? I don't want you to look at this as like, here, now go buy your NingXia and this is a sales pitch. That's crap. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that this information was known, and then Gary put this together as an answer to heart disease, which I so cannot say. It's ridiculously non-compliant, so forgive me with that. But I feel that you need to know, you need to understand why we picked the products that we picked. I know why. I've been with Young Living a long time. I know why certain things are the way they are. And we've gotten stifled by the government to be able to tell you this, but I really want you to understand this piece of it. Do you want to know what's in NingXia? Well, 50% of it right off the bat is the NingXia Wolfberry. Half of it is the puree, not just the juice from it, but the actual whole fruit, okay, the whole berry. Then there's blueberries. Hello, just talked about that. Plums, cherries, aronia, and pomegranate. Okay, that's what you're getting in this, plus a whole slew of essential oils on top of it. How amazing is that? This is what you're taking. You're taking this every day. This is what you're doing. Everything I just explained to you are the benefits you're getting to your body as a result. Antioxidants. Our blood becomes more oxidized and sticky with age. As our blood tends to clot faster, our risk of heart attack and stroke increases. Some high antioxidant whole foods are the most effective means of reducing this stickiness. So right here, they did live blood analysis, okay? This is the before, and it's all sticky, and this is after. This is after taking NingXia and how the stickiness of the cells have disappeared. By the way, other things that make your cells sticky that have been tested: coffee makes your cells really sticky. Certain medications make your cells very sticky. There's several things that make your cells sticky. I think caffeine in general does that. Sugar does that. There's lots of things that make it sticky, and then there's lots of things to make it unsticky. So it's not just NingXia that does it. Lots of things do it. And again, you want to get the antioxidants. Antioxidants are really important. In fact, I see people out there now selling like antioxidant pills. They call them reds and greens or whatever it is. I see these antioxidant pills out there. I don't know if they understand that that's what people are having, is that the effects are the antioxidant pills. I find it really important. I know people find it easy to go take pills, whether it's vitamin C or whether it's other pills people are selling that are really antioxidant pills. Look, antioxidants are important, but I still think food first. It's really important to get it through your food. And this is another way to get it through your food, because it's here. It's the whole food in this, right? So it's the whole food right in NingXia. It's super easy to take. It's great for you and your kids and all that. Again, this is why we have NingXia as part of this program, as part of Living Fit Club, because we want you to have that antioxidant that boost, that antioxidant boost, not just from NingXia. You know we talk whole foods, but this is just another whole food way to get it. Does that make sense to everybody? I hope so. Anyway, this is your lesson. I could probably go on forever and ever and ever about this. I used to teach an entire class just on healthy heart and cholesterol and all that, and really helping people understand. I wish we weren't so stifled right now by the FDA, and it's not just Young Living. I mean, just in general, we're just stifled to be able to teach people about true health. So please take this into consideration, and anyone, in the group, I hope you